Guys, thank you so much for joining me on Positive Traction with Coach Henry. Man, you're in for one. I am blessed to have some great guests up to this point and continuous. But this gentleman, we have a lot of different relationships. First and foremost, a great friendship. So without further ado, who are you?
How much time do we have? My name is Dale Jacoby. I'm a 12-time world kickboxing, sport karate, Muay Thai champion. I'm a 9th degree black belt in many arts. I'm in 4 World Hall of Fames. I'm in the Museum of Martial Arts History. You can fact check this all. I did 40 movies, stunts.
Some of my favorite movies, by the way.
Off top, this is funny. On the way over here this morning, I got a DM from a company in Germany. So I did a movie a long time ago called No Retreat, No Surrender.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
With Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah.
So October is the 35th anniversary of the movie. The movie is a cult hit in Europe. In Germany, it's crazy. I'm a cult figure in Germany.
Wow. We need to tell JP, my son-in-law, he's German. We got
they want to do a reunion of the movie, then a 2-week tour of Europe, a Q&A. And
that's great, Coach.
Like I get emails, 30, 40 emails a week on the movie, and people quoting things that Dean Shooting Star Ramsey said. I was a total. Can I say? I can say it.
Yeah, this is the Coach Henry produced by.
So I've did many movies, Die Hard, Rocky, all fact checked.
Yeah.
Nowadays you got to be careful. People spit at the mouth, and there's no substance to what they're saying. They're just talking. I am who I am. I say who I am, and I can back it up. And I've lived a very blessed life. It's taken me to the highest of highs, to the lowest of lows, to how am I going to eat next week, to let's go to Mastro's. So I tell people that life is a journey, not a destination. When you reach a destination, it's pretty much gone. So I'm creating destinations over and over and over. I keep reinventing myself to make me have more substance and to just give me a better knowledge into what I do. And like I said, I've been blessed. This is true. This isn't just sitting here talking to you, but one of my blessings in life was coming in contact with you. For many reasons, for your knowledge, for your wisdom, most of all, for your friendship. You taught me a lot about a lot. And I can truthfully say not a lot of people have did that. They talk the talk, but they can't walk it. And we lead by example, and you truly lead by example. And I took a lot of your examples and I put them into play. And I continue to do that on the daily, because I don't want to fall behind. I want to stay. I always want to play it forward. I never want to play it backwards. I don't want to go back in life.
Amen.
I don't want to chase my demons. I don't want my demons to chase me.
Yeah.
So I play it forward. The past is just the past.
Yeah.
That's me.
Well, Coach, you left the word coach, and I'm gonna say it for you, is that your resume is not only impressive, and I would say we've known each other for a good almost decade, I think.
Ooh, yes.
Yes. So I can fact check anyone that, yes, that's all beyond, and there's more to that, because you are no doubt one of the hardest men I've ever met in the sense of, when you think of a tough man, you could be a poster child for that in a beautiful way. But the other part that makes you even more beautiful is that you have a heart of gold. You always have. You always have. You are the right softy to love on and not the man to mess with. So that is a perfect combo. And I'm glad that 99.9 of the time we've been on the same page. So
Coach,
you know,
when my daughter, so Coach and I were blessed. We have two highly functional daughters who are beautiful physically, mentally, and spiritually.
amen.
So, and two sons as well, like that. So my daughter, when she was in high school, she'd say, "Dad, I don't get it. These guys, as soon as they find out you're my dad, they back off or they're scared." I'm like, "Well, that tells you they're not good people." She goes, "Yeah, but I don't get it. You're like a big sissy." I go, "Yeah, don't tell them that." So yeah, you know.
Well, Coach, I love it, and we're going to definitely talk about some playback only for reminiscing laughters. We'll definitely have some, but I do want to touch on, one of the reasons I wanted you on the show, not only in the friendship and the coaching, is the things that and thank you for the kind words you said about me, but this is also the pivotal moments of life that you helped. You and I, in our business career, had some highs and had some lows. You were definitely there for some of the things that were very tough for me in running a business that a lot of people were not privy to. We had some challenges, you and I, in the way we did certain things, but friendship and proper respect proved, or you wouldn't be sitting here, that's when you have respect and you can get through it. We put together fighting events that were the best in the area.
They still talk about it.
Yeah, as well as getting through how to figure out how to pay the rent for the business, and I appreciate that. So thank you for the ride or die of that, and I'm happy that we're both in better places as far as the world that we're pushing. But now I feel that one of the things that I know I got from you, that would be selfish for me not to have people that are watching or listening get from you what I know my son, my daughter, and Munchkin, all of us got, was your tenacity to switch gears. And that's what sticks to me, that you're okay being a good guy because you're confident knowing that if you have to use something, you're going to use it. So I want you to share for a moment, like when people think of martial arts, I am a huge advocate, as you know, and you have many specialties, but one of them is Muay Thai. And the importance, how you've seen it in your son and your daughter and us and many others that have had the pleasure of crossing with you, and how it's not in the ring, that's one part, but in life. What is a story or something that you feel someone listening that you can go, they can go, wow, okay, I can apply that tenacity, that you can be Mr. Tough Guy to a certain degree, but at the end of the day, let's be kind. Let's do good for this world. What is that? How can you share something like that?
It's a great question. To be a tough guy doesn't mean you have to be a tough guy. Mm-hmm. Because a real tough guy, you'll never know he's a tough guy. Mm. I let my actions speak my words. I let my words speak my actions.
Yeah.
I'll never say how tough I am. I'll never show you how tough I am. It's the way I carry myself, the way I look at you, will make you know, oh boy. So I try and instill that. So here's a funny story. I hope it makes sense here. Many years ago, when I was with you, I don't know if I ever told you this story. I was bouncing, remember?
Oh, yeah.
So I was bouncing at this nightclub in Hollywood. It was called Club Las Palmas. So it was a Sunday night. So Sunday night was all, it was like a all black night, all, and it was ganged up. You'd go in there, and everybody was in their clique and their set. So it was about 2:00 in the morning. And this will kind of equate to being a tough guy, but the spoken word. So about 2:00 in the morning, we're trying to get everybody out. A fight breaks out between two different factions of people. We get them outside, and now everybody is in their own little clique. So I had this guy in there I worked with. He was a Samoan dude. His name was Sammy. 6'9", 400 pounds. But he used to laugh at me because he used to say, people look at you like funny in the sense that they're scared of you looking at you and you don't do nothing. You know, you don't have to say nothing. It's just crazy that people react like that. I'm like, I'm just being me. I am me. This is the only me you get. I don't know how to be nothing else but me. That's it. I'm not trying to be tough. I'm not trying to be this. I'm not trying to be that. I'm just me. My daughter tells me all the time, Dad, smile more. People are like, they get intimidated by it. I'm like, I'm not trying to do that. You know that's not me. Anyways, off top. So we get them outside. So now this big dude, 6'4", 6'5", 290. Easy, looked like a defensive end. I'm no little guy. He made me look little. So and I knew the game. So Sammy's sitting with me and Sammy's laughing. He kind of comes up to me and he fronts. And I looked at him and I said, that's one. He's like, he walked away. I said, 30 seconds. He comes back. Boom. I said, that's two. You get 2 strikes with me. On the 3rd strike, you're out. There's no questions. There's no nothing. But I figured I was going to give this a question. 15 seconds later, he gave up. And I said, stop. And he stopped in his track. And I looked him in the eyes. The eyes tell the truth. A true tough guy will always look you in the eye. He'll never take his eyes off you. You never take your eyes off of what's in front of you, in business, in the world, in fighting, and whatever. It says a lot about a man. It says a lot about his heart and his integrity. Somebody who has no integrity or no heart will never be able to look you in the face. Mm-hmm. So I looked him in the face. I said, bro, now it's like 2:30 in the morning. I said, it's 2:30 in the morning, man. You want to go home? I want to go home. But if you want to get down, we can get down because 2 things are going to happen. I'm going to kill you. You're going to kill me. I'm not afraid to die. Just like that. He looked at me and you can see the swag in his body go, and he walked away. They laughed about that forever. To this day, if I see Sammy and he's with me, he'll tell people that story. So I think I beat him on my spoken word and just the confidence in my words. People can talk, but there's no confidence in their words. My words are confident. And he saw that I wasn't playing. And that's the way I live my life because I don't want to die. But I have no fear because I've lived a great life. I've raised my children. I have 2 unbelievable grandchildren. I've lived, I've loved, I've laughed, I've lost, whatever. So I'm good. I'm good. But I live by this, a real man. I would rather die on my feet than down on my knees with knee pads in front of a man. You do the math on that. This way I live my life. I'm a very simple man, but I don't I'm a nice guy. But if you poke the bear, chances are it's not going to be good for you, maybe me, but I know what's going to happen on my part. Again, and I'm not a tough guy, and I don't treat or teach people to be a tough guy. When I train my students, I train people. So people, people are lost now. People are sheep, and Coach knows this because our political views, are pretty on. They're sheep. They're walking around. They're looking to be led. 99% of the world are sheep. They're looking to be led. A strong physical being can lead them. So I teach my students to be wolves. Doesn't mean you have to be a bad wolf, so don't get that twisted. A good wolf, a confident wolf who knows how to lead, never follow. People will follow him. People will never try him because they know, okay, dude's a wolf. Or for women as well. So I teach that and I lead that. And my students embody that. My son, who people will say, wow, your son's a little cocky. No, he's not cocky. He's confident. There's a difference between cocky and confident and arrogant. I was arrogant way back when, so I know about that. But, then I got humble and I found humility. That's what a real man knows, humbleness and humility. And Coach knows what I'm talking about. So, my son is confident. Like, he's confident in his spoken word, his ability, his being of a man, his presence of a man. And sometimes people get that twisted. But the people who are unconfident and don't know humility or humbleness take that wrong. They get it wrong. So that's, how I break it down, how I lead. I lead by example. I lead by, if I tell you we're going to walk through fire, then we're going to walk through fire. You're not going to walk through fire by yourself. I'm going to walk through fire with you, because that's what a real mentor, coach, leader does. All the great leaders know they're willing to walk through fire. One of my students said, you are probably one and only, and he's a professional fighter, one and only coaches that actually gets in the ring and spars with his students. My answer to that is, well, what kind of coach, mentor, leader would I be if I could just talk it, but I couldn't walk it?
Well, King Coach, on that, I mean, you shared some great stuff, and that's why anyone listening or watching this is, look, I want to break it down a little bit, because I want people at all levels to know the man that I know and the coach that I know, which is what you said. It's so what I take from what you shared. If I didn't know you and I'm listening, when we say sheep, when we say wolf, this isn't watering it down. This is trying to get people to understand the message of being confident in your decision. And you become more confident in your decisions when you step and not just stand, right? Because, and again, earlier in another thing, I had talked about failure. And there's no such thing. Every fight that you've ever lost made you better for the next fight. So now let's take business. Every business decision that didn't go right, if you apply that, it becomes wisdom and it becomes fruitful. So in all that you shared, yes, you and I both have lived a good life, and not that you and I want to clock out today.
No.
But it is neat to reflect. It is neat to sit back and go, you know what? If today was my last ticket, not too shabby. And I believe that's what you were saying, not too shabby. But now, since you and I both have a little bit of a journey left, hopefully for a while, what are we going to do with it? So that's kind of what I want to unpack with you, Coach. We talked about what got you here, beautiful accomplishments. A lot of people, myself included, along the way that you've affected. Many times when Zach was training for fights, my son, doing the right things as a father, I had to back out because, it's always better to hear somebody else, especially your wisdom and knowledge. And you were that. You definitely got in that. And to this day, Zach is very appreciative, as I am, of your wisdom and coaching. So now that we're living life and you're still walking the talk, which I love, how someone that's listening, if they're confused, well, what does sheep mean? What does wolf mean? And I don't mean politically. I mean just how can they go, all right, I've been stuck. I'm scared to step a little stronger. What is something that you feel in your humbleness, in your quest, as you get a brand new student that looks from you and they go from not even looking in the eyes, and then weeks or months later they're walking in and go, hey, what's up, coach? Right? What can you give someone a little love to guide them in that direction?
So this is funny. I incorporate this into my life. It's something you told me a long time ago. Positive action makes positive traction.
100%.
So I teach everything through the spoken word. If you don't love yourself, if you don't have confidence in yourself, then the world's going to shit on you. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you confidence. I'm going to give you the spoken word. I'm going to help you be able to conduct yourself. Most of all, mentally, physically, spiritually, because the spiritual being is very important. We're all here for a reason. We all come from something, a higher source, because it couldn't have been created without a higher source.
Yes, sir.
So I break you down in the sense that a bully, we'll use a bully for instance. A bully wants an easy mark. What I mean by an easy mark is you come in contact with somebody, a bully. Bullies come in all shapes, sizes, and from what I'm hearing now, girls can be bullies.
Yeah, 100%.
So the bully walks up to you, let's say you're on the street. You're walking down the street and a bully comes up to you and says, yo, man, give me your shoes. Bully looks at you and says, I'm not playing, give me your shoes. You take your shoes off and you give them to the bully and you scurry away. That affects you for a long time. I teach you that a bully does not want confrontation.
So I'm going to stop you right there, Coach, because I know this, I live this, and I love you saying this. So for those of you listening, I guess I'm going to break it down like it did for me when I was 18. Because I started late martial arts. In what Coach Dale, not that you need a translator, but this is, I love talking this out with you because it ignites me of what you're sharing. And that is that you made a very powerful statement that cannot go unsaid. And that is, if someone, you use a visual of someone coming up, but let's look at something that maybe is practical. If someone's saying, no, you waited patiently to get a seat in a movie theater and someone just grabs it or takes your parking spot. Now, yes, at the end of the day, pick your battles, but let's say this particular battle, this is you. This is your wolf, this is your sheep moment where you're like, well, I've always been running from every battle and I've always turned the other cheek. And it's not about violence and it's not about being a bigger bully, but I believe what you're sharing is, but it is also a moment to stand your ground. Right, Coach?
Cain and Abel.
Yes. Stand your ground. Yeah, go ahead.
Again, spot on. I told you about the spoken word. You give your shoes up right away. If you're a man, you just messed up with your manhood. It's going to affect you throughout your life. You're always going to remember giving the bully your shoes because you were fair. You were fearful. Let me tell you something about fear. Fear, F-E-A-R. Future events appear real. Think about that. Fear, future events appear real. I'm telling you that if you walk outside, you're going to get hit by a car. Now you're fearful, you're not going to walk outside. You're fearing the unknown. 9 million%, it's not going to happen. So that's what people do, fear. The young man walked away because he was fearful of the unknown. Is he going to shoot me? Is he going to hit me? He don't realize that the next part of this is, now I work on that young man's psyche and I get into him mentally because I get into my students mentally. I give them positive thought where they can reinforce their thought through my words, the spoken word, which I'm very big on the spoken word. So a bully, which they don't understand yet, does not like confrontation. Mm-hmm. The bully wants the easy mark. He wants the yes man. 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to say 10 out of 10 because there's always that 1%, but you got to be able to, if you commit, then you have to go through. Could be that 1%. But 9 times out of 10, you're on the street, the bully, give me your shoes, and you're like, give you my shoes. How about you give me your shoes? And you just stare him down. 9 times out of 10, he's going to go, whoop, and he's going to walk away. Why is he going to walk away? Because he doesn't want confrontation. He wants the person who's just going to give him his shoes. Because a real man or a real tough guy, or what a real scenario is, they're not going to say nothing. They're going to come up to you and hit you and take your shoes. They're not going to talk. People who talk will not act. They just talk. But you don't understand that when we go back to the sheep thing, because you're being led and you're fearful, which is not a bad thing, but you don't know. When you can break it down and you're learning it now mentally through the spoken word, you're understanding that I got a 9 out of 10 chance that he's going to walk away. But now I got that one chance that if I have to throw down, I'm ready. I'm dialed in.
Well, and I think for me, Coach, what I take from that, again, I'm just, obviously I very much blessed and fortunate that doesn't,
Of course.
But the average person, and this is why I keep coming back to this, Coach, because my whole premise of this show is to help people translate me and my Henryisms to confidence. See, it's not 99% of the time, and I know this of you, we will walk away from confrontation, not out of fear, and that's your message, see, because I have no problem that they take my parking space. It's good. You want my shoes? No problem. I'll order you a new pair as well, right? But it's out of actually confidence that I'm actually allowing it.
So
does that make sense, Coach? And that's what I want them to get out of it, because it's not that I, knock on wood, the last time I got any kind of situation, it's been a minute, right? It doesn't mean I don't come across them all the time. I'm traveling all the time. There's people that are very mean and bullies. But most of the time, Coach, I'm just like, okay. And every once in a while, God puts something on my heart, and I'm like, I will look at them and go, you have a good day, right? And like you said, that look, and that's why I think, because when they see you on this YouTube channel, or they read about your fact checking, and they see you are the epitome, like I started this today, of a poster child for a tough man in a good way.
So what you said again is spot on, but I'm gonna go one step further. So you talked about walking away. You can walk away because you're part wolf. You can walk away with your head up high, because I know what I would have did to you. You don't know, but I know. You have that confidence. You have that self-esteem to walk away.
Yes, sir.
But first, we have to gain that self-esteem and that confidence. It comes through training, obviously, the spoken word, feeling about a certain way about yourself. How many people wake up in the morning and look in the mirror and go, oh, I don't like who I am. I don't like this. You already projected your day.
100%.
You got to wake up in the mirror and go, I'm a bad mother thing. I'm cool. I got this. I'm going to slay the day. I am the man. Boom. Doesn't mean that's arrogant, cocky, whatever, but it means you're giving yourself confidence. You're like setting the day for yourself.
And Coach, like you quoted me about the positive traction, positive results, 100%. And I love that. And that's why I love having this conversation with you, because you just said it. I don't look for it. And they don't know that God has favor because I am walking away. Because I know what I would do. But that's the beauty of what we're doing now, Coach. When someone leaves your presence, right? And I see, you're coaching, and I know what you've done with my kids. I know what you've done with all of them, and they walk away feeling good. It's the application of how we apply it into our lives today.
Coach, this is a funny story. It's kind of on this, but it's just the way. It's kind of like a bully, whatever. I'm going down the street. I'm driving the speed limit, and I'm my mind is elsewhere, and there's this pickup truck behind me, and he's on my ass, and he's beeping. I'm like, go around me, go around me, go around me, and he boom gets around me, and he slams on his brakes. I'm like, all right, dude, whatever. So we turn, and I'm going to a Starbucks. We turn, and he's just, and I'm like, this fool. Anyways, we get to the spot. I park, and he skids in there, and he gets 10 yards from me. And he's getting out of the car. middle-aged dude, nothing special. I'm just coming from working out. I don't have my shirt on. And I'm like, oh, this fool. So he's scurrying, like he's coming at me, like, and I get out of the car, like it should have been in a movie. Real slow. I put one foot out. I get the other foot out. I slowly get up. I slowly rise. And I snap on him. And he looks at me. And the boy was white. He turned 5 shades of white. He jumped in his truck. Took off. So I'm thinking to myself, like, wow. What did I do? I'm thinking to myself, I just ruined his whole year, his existence, because he's got to deal with that. Like, he bitched out. Again, it's one thing if you want to pretend you're a tough guy, walk the walk, at least go for it.
Right.
Right?
Well, like you said, Coach, that most of these people don't. But I think what you did that day, Coach, and you really didn't do anything other than actually mind your P's and Q's. But that's why, for me, look, you said something is we do live in different times. But you know me well enough to know that I like to be part of a solution, not to people please, but to people bless. And I want people that hear this, that watch us, that hear you, that get to know you for the first time. And what they see and what I see in you is a man that is, you walk the talk. Coach, you bring you and I have had so many great conversations. I remember in the ring and outside the ring when we would be done with a workout, people left on a Saturday morning, and we would sit there and talk about things. And I remember, Coach, I said to you this, Coach, if we don't show people, they're only going to hear what they want to hear. But if they see us, that's going to be a magnitude effect. And that to me is when I see you, Coach, that's what I want people to see in you, because you didn't get to be a 12-time and a 9th degree, correct? Right? And all the accomplishments, those needed to be said. You earned them, so that needs to be recognized. But now how you're applying them into life, you're still students. People have, and they should take advantage of it as long as they can, you are still teaching, which is beautiful. But to me, it's the people that leave. It's the legacies that we're able to live and watch, right? Like I said, we're fortunate to have great kids, truly blessed, that are walking great walks. And not a lot of parents can always say that. But it's now, one of the questions that I have, Coach, is what is the why now? See, one of the things I shared the other day with somebody is that an artist is always valuable. Typically when they die, their art value goes up. Right? Oh, Picasso. But I want to do something different, Coach. I want our value to go up while we're living. So I like to call it a living legacy. So when your son is speaking, I know for a fact that when they introduce you, they're proud. That's a beautiful feeling as a father. And that's why those that don't have good dads, those that don't have for lack of a better word, a confident martial art background father or mother if they're a single mom. That's why I hope people take from this, it's not about being tough, even though you have the resume. It's what I've seen you do. I've seen you get on your knees to help a little kid punch that doesn't even know how to do a jab cross. Before you know it, they're walking in with that. It is, like you said, not living in fear. All of us have a wolf in us, and it's not about being macho. It's about able to stand on your feet and believe in what you believe in. Even if we disagree, believe in that with good purpose.
So I am me because of some reasons, and one of them is I was blessed to be mentored by 2 of the greatest ever to do it. One is Benny the Jet Ukitas. Mm-hmm. The other one is Cecil Peoples.
Yep.
I encourage everybody, if you don't know, check it out. So they molded me, they shaped me, they made me who I am. I would not be the man I am if it was not for their knowledge, for their wisdom, most of all for their love.
And dedication to you.
And dedication to me, and seeing something in me that people didn't see or no one saw. And Coach, I don't know if I ever told you the story. Why am I me? How did I get to be me? How did this start? Started many, many, many years ago. I was 12 years old. I grew up on the mean streets of Van Nuys, California. That's a joke. Anyways, I lived in an apartment building that had subterranean parking. And I don't know if I ever told you this, Coach. This was the beginning. This is what shaped me. My dad saw that this family moved down below us. And it was a father with 3 sons, 2 twins who were my age and an older one. And they were, I don't want to on them, but they weren't the best people. They weren't good people for many reasons. So my dad said, son, go down there and tell them to move their car. So I'm a Jew. If that offends anybody, I don't give a so my dad had a Cadillac. So the 2 brothers, the 2 twins and the older one, and I was 12 years old. I grew up in middle suburbia. Like, I don't know about life. I don't know about fighting. I was playing baseball. I was playing basketball. I was tall and lanky and I had long hair and I was not by no means confrontational. I was the sheep that I'm talking about. So maybe this will set clarity on everything. I was the sheep that I was talking about. I didn't know. It was just who I was. So they walked me down, 2 on the side, and the other brother was in the front. And we got down in there, and the older one looks and goes, oh, is that your dad's Jew canoe? I didn't know nothing about anti-Semitism or anything like that. I didn't know anything about hate. I didn't know. I was brought up in I had the greatest parents. I am so blessed. I could do another episode on just my parents. There was no hatred in my house. There was no color. There was no nothing. There was just love. So when he said that, I was like, what did he say? I didn't even understand it. Like, right. It went over my head. Later on, I started getting it. So one brother grabbed me from the back and the other one got in front of me and the other one's going, hit him. And he, a little aggressive, sorry. He lit me up, gave me a bloody nose, and I was crying like a little.
Yes.
It was my first reality check in my life. I ran upstairs and told my dad what happened. My dad ran downstairs. It was a good day for him. Anyways, so my dad came upstairs. Now, my dad was a man's man. My dad, little insight, my dad grew up on the south side of Chicago during the Depression. 15 brothers and sisters in a 3-flat apartment.
Wow.
At 13 years old, he started working with his dad hauling pianos. That was my dad. My dad came upstairs and said, son, got to get you tough. No son of mine, he said, we're going to get you to karate. So I'm like, I don't want to do karate. He goes, no, you're going to do karate. So him and my mom the next day took me to this karate studio on Sunset Boulevard, of all places, because my dad used to come back that way. I was there 6 months, and I was starting to excel. But I remember the sensei, his name was Louis Chavez, and he goes, you know what? He goes, let what happened to you drive you. Let that give you fire. I'll never forget that. I was like, wow, yeah, and it gave me this. So anyways, I moved on and on and on and on, and I went to where I was supposed to be. I was 12. I was 18 or 19. I already was a second-degree black belt. I was lit. I was a badass. Like, in the ring, I had already had probably 10 professional fights, 9-1. I lost my first fight, but that's okay. We went to a party in Malibu. Went with my friends. It was at it was at Tatum O'Neill.
Yeah.
Because we all kind of ran in the same circle, Hollywood, and you know, I was bouncing. And anyway, I'll never forget it. Like, I live this every day. It still gives me fire. When I go to a dark place, I remember this. This makes me who I am. This might be everything you're talking about. So we're on the third level, my brother, 2 other friends, and I look like something on a movie, like God made this happen. The 3 brothers. I knew it. I knew it was them. My heart dropped. My mouth got dry. My hands were clenched. I'm like, this is it. This is everything I worked for. Now I'm looking at them, and my first thought was, they don't look very tough. They look kind of frail and meek. So I say to my brother, you guys leave, go downstairs. He goes, why? I go, just go. And I gave my brother, and my brother knew what I was talking about. They leave. So I had my hand on the rail, and they walk by me. So I give the one brother a little pop, a little shoulder roll. I'll never forget it. He goes, ah! I'm like, I just won. I just won. They stop, and I square off on the big brother. I go, dude, do you know me? He's backing up. He don't want to make that eye contact. I'm like, do you know me? He goes, no, I don't know you. And I did it a little again, and all 3 of them went like that. I tapped the one on the shoulder. I said, have a nice night. And they walked away. What happened, Coach? What happened that night? Vindication.
Absolutely.
I beat a demon without doing nothing.
Right. But see, the beautiful thing, I love what that sensei said to you. And he said, let it be your fire. See, and with that, Coach, thank you for bringing that moment, because that is what, to me, real coaching is. But you have to gain that confidence. In those 6 years, not 6, 7 years you did, you needed that moment. Again, no one would have blamed you, let alone with your brother, and I know your brother and your friends, but you didn't. All you needed for you as a man is that, and it felt good, because you know what? You didn't have to hurt nobody. At the end of the day, they might have later remembered who you are. Maybe they never remembered, but you knew. No, and that's why I want people to hear this, that it's not about being tough, even though you can be if needed.
It had nothing. So the what I'm getting at is, it had nothing about being tough. Because I could have thrown them all 3 off the balcony and cracked their necks like twigs. It had nothing. It wasn't about being tough. It was about settling my heart, because not many people know this. It affected me every day.
Of course it did.
Because I didn't have resolution. And if you go back to the beginning of this, we talked about that, about giving the shoes up. That was my giving the shoes up. I didn't understand it. It made sense later on. But I beat them mentally, physically, spiritually, without even lifting a finger, because I had come full circle. They never got to first base. So I beat them. There was no need for me to show my superiority. There was no need for it. I didn't have to. I already beat you. Like, I'm in your head now forever. Now I just took your shoes. Now you have to deal with that. They're probably still dealing with that.
Well, and Coach, and that's to me, look, and that ultimately is, it's not about, like you said, of a movie or revenge. It is more of saying that in this day we live in today, if we're going to really put our heels in for the right reasons, pick the right battles.
Pick your battles.
And also let go of many more battles, but it all comes down to confidence. It comes down to what we're going to do with what we have. So that leads me to today. And there's a couple current accomplishments that have caught up to you that are now. And I want people to hear this, because it's all your great years of training, helping, falling, rising. And the 2 things that always stick out to me about you and the time I've known you is never giving up, but adjusting your plan. We've talked about
Adapt,
that.
overcome, improvise.
There you
every
go.
day.
See, so there's a couple things you had a not everybody's heard of this company. It's called Netflix, but there's a couple things going in your life now, and I want to circle that, Coach, because our time, and I want to make sure that they get to hear how all that's wrapped up and what's going on with you now.
So I kind of live my life. I don't know if anybody knows. It's called the art of war. I live by the art of war.
Yeah.
San Tzu. Knock me down 8, I will get up 9. I'm heavily tattooed. I have one of my tattoos says pain is temporary, pride is forever. That's who I am. I have one more that says one more round. No matter what you do to me, besides kill me, I will rise. So I got inducted in October into the Martial Arts History Museum, which, if you don't know, you can look it up. It's kind of a big deal.
Coach,
it's an accomplishment.
It is a huge accomplishment, and you're alive to enjoy it.
Well, so the gentleman, the curator of the museum, says, I do this thing he did, and it was a great turnout, over 400 people. We do this to immortalize you while you're alive. It's a great point.
I love it.
So people can give you what you deserve while you're alive. I had 22 people, truth, come up and talk about me. And they all had this, they talked, but they all came to the same conclusions about me, about my heart, about who I am, what I stand for, my integrity. If I had to leave this world, I want people, my swan song is when they judge my integrity, my loyalty, my heart, my will, my desire. It's who I am. So anyway, there were some people there from Netflix and whatever, randomly in the museum, but they caught the show. About a week later, they hit me up and they said, we heard these people talk about you, immortalize you, but they all had the same things to say about you. Then we looked you up, we fact checked you, and like you're the real deal. You're a strong entity. You're something that people could look up to. That people can really learn something from you, and they went through many things, and they want to do kind of a reality show about me, but me helping people that leads into different things. And we shot the first episode, and there's some people interested in it, and it hopefully it'll be a big thing. If it's not, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to lose sleep over it, because whatever is meant to be will be. But it's just it makes me feel like, wow, I'm blessed. I am everything I say I am, and the greatest thing in life is for your peers in life to look at you and go, wow, that's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Wow. And I do believe that my peers do that. So, I kind of like that. If I had a legacy, what people ask for, my legacy is I would want it to be that. I came, I saw, I conquered.
I remember you always saying that. Well, Coach, I want to share a couple of fun stories of us, because that is part of our. So thank you for this part. Thank you for being approachable. Thank you for being real. I think a lot of times if someone just Googles you or fact checks you, it could be a little overwhelming. It could be a little bit of, damn. But when they meet you in the teddy bear that you are, in a good way, in a beautiful way, I love it. But I'd like to, before we sign off, and all your information will be there so people can see a little bit about you and why I have so much respect for you, is in our times, for those of you guys that don't know, when I was running the KO Studios, to this day, forever in our hearts. It was more than people always talk about it, and they don't realize it was a community. It was something special that could never be duplicated. But Coach Dale was a huge, huge part of that on all levels. So thank you for the ride and die in that we did. But I'd like to share, maybe just you'd share one little story that sticks out to you. I don't know what you're going to say, and I'll share a story that sticks out to me, and then we'll close with that, because I want people to know that we're two guys that are doing our best to make a positive impact on this world. So, Coach, what's a story in our time together that kind of just sticks out to you? Could be a hard one, it could be a good one, whatever you think, and then I'll share one, and then we'll sign off. I know there's a lot, Coach.
This is kind of a funny story. It was a morning, and Coach Henry used to train a fighter by the name of Brandon Rios. He's a world champion. You can check him. I mean, fact check that. Was a polarizing figure, to say the least.
Yes.
And but Brandon said whatever he felt at the moment.
He had no filter, Coach.
No, there was no filter. He just, I mean, like, you wouldn't want to bring him around priests or nuns or anything. So Coach had, I forget who they were. They came from somewhere. There were like 4 or 5 women, but they were all very, I don't know if you remember this. They were all kind of high-level women in different things, and Coach was teaching them. But they were very reserved, very whatever. Brandon came in his fullness, and Coach looked at me and goes, oh. He goes, talk to him, tell him to tone it down. So I walk over and I say, Brandon. He goes, I don't give a So Brandon went into being Brandon, and these women were like, "Can we?" I mean, they were horrified, and Coach was like, "Oh, what should we do?" I go, "I don't know," and Brandon went on. So I never seen Coach teach so fast. He went through an hour workout in 20 minutes, and he was like, "Okay, thanks for coming." He didn't, and Brandon was on one, but that was just, that was just Brandon, being funny. So I mean, I have so many of them, but I always remember that your face, your jaw dropped. You dropped like, and he wasn't supposed, because you were going to train him. Remember?
Yeah.
He came early. Brandon used to.
I used to try and time it, Coach, because
Yeah.
I tried to time it when whoever was before or after him, they had to have tough skin, because Brandon was Brandon, and I will forever love that.
You didn't know what he was going to say, but that was funny. That was one of the.
I don't remember the group I had, but I remember that moment, because I'm not usually at a loss for words.
It was a morning, Coach. It was 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning.
And Brandon in his rawness. I love how you put it. But those are some great stories, and I'll share one with you. And mine's more of a touchy-feel moment. So thank you for bringing up a laughter one. So that way people have a little bit of both. Mine, Coach, was a moment when, we were putting on one of the fights. We were hosting for many, many people. And I remember that some of the fighters that we had, or something was going on. And mind you, we weren't a fighting studio. You definitely had the talent and all the goods, but ours was more on the economic side of loving and building people up. So obviously having your coaching was a huge treat for people. But I remember this moment because we had true boxing gyms, kickboxing gyms,
all over,
come from all over to our gym in Agora, California, and we hosted 7 or 8 different schools. And I was so proud that we did really well. Right?
Yes.
But I remember a moment where one of our students, I'll leave their name out, is they were getting a little clobbered. But you went up and you and I would share corners, and you jump in, I jump in, and you just whispered something to them. And I remember their face changed for the better. And they went out there and they still didn't win the round, but they won the round. You see what I'm saying, Coach? They won the round. And I'll never forget that, because to me, Coach, that's why I think you and I were such great yin yang, because we both believed the same. We just had a little different tactics.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what I said.
Yeah.
I whispered in the gentleman's ear.
Yeah.
We know who the gentleman is.
Yeah.
And I said, dude, you're fucking up here. This is your home. You better go out there and make a statement. I don't care what you do, but you better leave it all in that ring, or else. Lit a fire.
Yes, it was a good fire, because they did do well. And Coach, again, we could have a couple different shows, and I think we will. And I don't know, Coach, it's been a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Having you on this show, reminiscing, but also what we do now, right? We're both looking good. You are doing awesome. And I am very blessed to have kept this friendship. And I believe so many great things. We're just warming up.
It's funny. It's funny, but it's not, and I don't mean it to sound like, what's the word? Superficial or anything like that. But when I started with Coach, like I was in a rough time for a lot of reasons, but I was fighting for the penny, for the dollar, and I was driving an older car and whatever, and we go back to 2009 or 10, and it's like, oh, I want a nice car. I remember I just want a nice car and whatever. It's 2010. Now, 2024, I'm driving a nice car.
Well, Coach,
so
I love that.
That's the progression. Not that it means anything, but it means something to me.
Absolutely,
because
Coach.
if I work hard and I work hard and I get what I earn, and I deserve, and I just I deserved it, because for a lot of time I was like, do I really deserve all these accolades? Do I really deserve this? But yeah, I do. I earned it.
Absolutely.
Nobody gave me. I earned it. Blood, sweat, tears, many tears, a lot of blood, a lot of sweat. I earned it. I earned it. On this journey, I earned it. I worked for it.
And that's why, Coach, on that note, I love that you aren't just talking it in the ring, you're living it out in life. So with that, Coach, thank you for being our friend, for being our coach always, and being a great example of someone that's making a difference with their life. So everybody, I hope you enjoyed my very beautiful, unfiltered coach and his heart. So Positive Traction with Coach Henry, Coach Dale, thank you. Until next time.
Until next time.